Hello and welcome to this tutorial on simulating electric lighting with ClimateStudio. In a previous tutorial I showed you how to post-process electric lights. That was in the context of radiance simulations and daylighting. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to import lights and photometrics and then simulate them. The result, this is a little test I've got here in front of us, pre-rendered, is going to be to show you how you can experiment with different beam spreads, different geometries and materials, and different techniques and lighting types. So without further ado, I'll show you how to do all this. We've got our test model here, which I've just got a few sculptures and some people and a wall to experiment with. And I've got my ClimateStudio workflow open, and make sure that you're on radiance rendering for this. And just going from the beginning again, you have to set a location. I've got Oakland selected, and then for the sky that we're going to use, it really doesn't matter because we're not going to be concentrating on daylight for this. So if you like, you can set it to midnight 23:30, because yeah, it'll be dark. It doesn't really matter. For the materials, I've selected some materials already. You can look at other tutorials on how to do that. And then finally, this tab right here is going to show us how to deal with lights. So the first thing I'm going to do is click Add Luminaire, and I'll get this pop up with a bunch of different options. So the first thing you should see is this lighting zone, and you want to define some custom zone that you can make sense of later. I'm just going to call this globe, and globe zone there. And I'm going to select a light that is just an A lamp or a Lambertian distribution, a diffuse globe that you might get from as a screw-in. So there's some pre-built ones actually. If you go to all products here and go to default library, you'll see that ClimateStudio comes with an A21 bulb with its 1700 lumens and an A19 bulb, and here you see a little graphic showing you the photometric distribution and the color spectrum of that selection. So that's in the default library. You can also use your own. So I could go to user products here, and if I didn't already have one in here, I could add one by clicking plus and then navigating to a location where that is. So I've got one here as a 600 lumen IES file, and I'm going to open that, and it will show me the photometric distribution, and I can import that. So that's it right there. I can say place in model, and then in Rhino you'll see it says pick point to place in your luminaire. So I'm going to pick that point right there, and you'll see that it comes in with some interesting characteristics. So one is this particular one is a cube where the light bulb is. That's defined in the IES file itself. And then you see this yellow curvy thing. That is a photometric web. That's the three-dimensional description. You can probably see it even better here in 2 dimensions, but it's a three-dimensional description of how the light will emanate from that source. So in this case, I've got it aimed, it comes in so it's aimed straight down. If you have a symmetric fixture, meaning that it's bilaterally symmetric, then there's no need to worry about the orientation. It's the same on all sides. But if you have an asymmetric fixture, you do have to worry, and so I'll show you what that's like. If I add a new zone here and I type, this is going to be a wall wash, and I'm going to add, oops, I'm going to add a wall wash, asymmetric there. And you'll notice that this is now asymmetric, meaning that this is biased to the right-hand side of this diagram. And the other curve is showing you 90 degrees to that. So it's symmetrical in one plane and asymmetrical in another plane. This will become much more obvious when you insert it three-dimensionally. So I'm going to press OK. I'm going to place it in model. I'm going to pick a point for the luminaire. I'm going to place it right there. And now when you look at this, you'll see that this way it is asymmetric, but this way it is symmetric. And actually, just for the sake of organization, I'll also show you another trick that I've learned is that you can organize your ClimateStudio luminaires in Rhino by layer, which is very convenient. I've actually got in this file already a few different layers set up. By default, these will import, the block imports to the layer called ClimateStudio Luminaire, this one. And if you don't already have that in your file, it will make it for you, make the layer and place it on there. But you can add as many layers as you want, and I like to organize it so they're sub layers to the ClimateStudio Luminaire, and you can put it on there. So if I have an asymmetric there and I select that and I add it to there, I can hide it, which is very convenient. And same with this one, I can add that to a globe and oops, select it and change the object layer, and voila, I can hide it. So that helps to organize things a little better because now I can actually see if I compare. Where is it? There it is. So this is the 90-degree asymmetric view, a view of the asymmetric from 90 degrees, and this is the same fixture viewed perpendicular to that. So you can see why it's important to see this web in 3 dimensions. And if I were, say, trying to direct this towards this wall over here, I'd actually want to rotate this 90 degrees. And you can rotate, you can use all the same tools, Rhino tools, that you normally would. So I can rotate that using the gumball, or I can just rotate it using a Rhino command. I can move it using a Rhino command. So if I wanted to move it to here, it'll just move as a Rhino command, which is very nice. It's very convenient to use. So that is how you place point sources and how you define the IIS files in Rhino for ClimateStudio. To render them, there's no trick here. One thing I will say though is if you want to be able to change the intensity of the light after you're done rendering, make sure you click this post process right there. And actually, another good note is if this web becomes distracting, you can actually turn it off using this here, either the horizontal web or the vertical web. So that's sometimes useful. You can also change the scale of it, so I can make it larger or smaller. And if after I've placed this, I want to change it, I can go to Edit, and I can actually select a different fixture, and it will update it. So it knows where the point is, where it's been inserted, and you can change the IIS file for that point, which is also incredibly helpful. So change it back to my asymmetric fixture there, and then to render this, all I have to do is open the render window and make sure I'm either looking at a luminance or illuminance, and then set the view, and then press play. And it will take a little while to combine the geometry, just like with the daylighting renderings, Keep in mind that the more geometry you render, the more lights you render, the longer it will take. Um, and Something else to keep in mind is that as the scene gets built and resolves, you'll see that you get less and less of the black pixels or noise in the rendering, and you can stop this before it actually gets to the end there and finishes. And as long as you've reached a convergence, you can rely on that. One way to test that convergence is, I'm going to redo that same one, is to I'll wait until it builds the scene. If I click and drag on the screen, it'll give me an average of the luminance in that box. You'll notice that that number is not changing all that much as it once it reaches a resolution. It won't change very much, and so that's how you know it's pretty much done. So once you've got that, a couple things to keep in mind. If you have the tone map as auto, then no matter how you change this slider, it will always look the same because it is auto exposing. You'll notice that the auto exposure actually changes if you look at that gray number as you slide this. So to see any difference, you would have to use manual, and with manual exposure, well, we can't see much because it's pretty dark, but let me change this. If I increase the exposure, we'll see some more difference, and as I drag this, I can drag it to be darker or lighter. I can also control, if I did have daylight in the run, I could turn daylight off or on, which is also really useful. Okay, so the second topic I wanted to cover is linear lighting, and because we just looked at point sources, and for linear lighting there's really not a whole lot additional to look at, but I did want to point some things out. So if I add a linear light, let's say a linear grays, and I'm going to go to my library, oops, here and here. I'm going to add this grazer. It's got a very narrow distribution, and you'll notice that it gives the size of the fixture here. So this is a 7.3 by 58.7 by 7.1 centimeter box that is the shape of the luminaire, and that 58.7 centimeters is how long. I know it says it's the width, but it's the length. And if I place that like that, you'll see that 57 centimeters is there. So if I wanted to align this with the red guideline, I can rotate it 90 degrees, and then to create a long linear quote-unquote fixture, or a series of these fixtures, I can array them or I can copy them, and I can create effectively linear fixtures like this. So it's helpful to know that this is a good way to do it. For this class, we're not going to worry about changing the size of these fixtures, so they'll usually import as either 1 foot or 4 foot fixtures, and I'd like you to use it in that increment. If you need, for whatever reason, something less than 1 foot or less than 4 feet, whatever the default comes in at, then you can talk to me about how you might be able to change that. But if we render this now, you'll see that this is now this looks like one linear fixture rather than lots of small fixtures in a row. It'll take just a second, and you'll see that the distribution is this long linear narrow beam. a little bit off to the side where it hits the wall, so it's a little hard to see that, but that is the fixture in the space. So this is a useful Radiance is a really useful platform for experimenting with these different photometric distributions, different fixture types, how they react with materials and space, and I would encourage you to explore. Good luck.